Liverpool injury latest, everything you need to know before the Manchester United showdown. Welcome back to United Daily Updates, your trusted source for all things Manchester United and Premier League football. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we bring you the latest news, match analysis, and exclusive insights that you won't find anywhere else. We're building a community of passionate football fans, and we'd love to have you as part of our growing family. Today, we're diving deep into something that every United fan needs to know about. We're talking about Liverpool's injury crisis heading into one of the biggest matches of the season. Why should United fans care about Liverpool's injuries? Because knowledge is power, and understanding what our rivals are dealing with can help us appreciate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead when these two giants clash at Anfield. The big picture, why this matters. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how much injuries can change the outcome of a massive game like Liverpool versus Manchester United? The answer is a lot. In modern football, having your best players available can be the difference between 3 points and none. It can be the difference between maintaining momentum and falling into a crisis. Right now, Liverpool are facing a situation that would worry any manager in world football. They're coming off 3 straight defeats. Yes, you heard that right. 3 losses in a row. For a team that had such high expectations this season, this is nothing short of a disaster. And now, with the international break wrapping up, they're dealing with injury concerns that could make their situation even worse. But here's the thing. As United fans, we need to understand exactly what we're up against. We can't underestimate a wounded animal, especially not Liverpool at Anfield. So let's break down everything you need to know about their injury situation, player by player, detail by detail. Understanding Liverpool's recent struggles. Before we get into the specific injuries, let's talk about where Liverpool are right now as a team. Context matters, right? Liverpool have just experienced one of their worst weeks in recent memory. They lost at Crystal Palace. They lost in the Champions League against Galatasaray in Istanbul. And then, to top it all off, they lost at Stamford Bridge to Chelsea with a goal in the dying moments of the game. 3 defeats. 3 different competitions. One miserable week for Onslaught and his team. Now, you might be thinking, what's causing all these problems? Is it just bad luck? Is it poor tactics? Or is there something deeper going on? The truth is, it's a combination of factors. Liverpool brought in some big names over the summer. They signed Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz, 2 players who were supposed to transform their attack and take them to the next level. But here's the problem. These new signings haven't clicked yet. They haven't found their rhythm. They haven't formed that understanding with their teammates that makes football look easy. When you spend big money on players, there's always an adjustment period. Fans expect instant results, but football doesn't always work that way. Players need time to understand their new teammates. They need to learn the system. They need to adapt to a new league, a new city, a new way of playing. And right now, it seems like Isak and Wirtz are still in that adaptation phase, but it's not just about the attack. Liverpool's defense has been leaking goals like a broken tap. They haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 6 games. 6 matches without shutting out the opposition. For a team that built its recent success on having one of the best defenses in Europe, this is seriously concerning. So when you add injury problems to a team that's already struggling with form, confidence, and cohesion, you've got a recipe for potential disaster. Or, from a United perspective, a perfect opportunity. Ryan Gravenberch, the midfield concern. Let's start with Ryan Gravenberch, because this is probably the freshest injury concern coming out of the international break. Who is Ryan Gravenberch? If you're not familiar with him, let me give you the quick version. He's a Dutch midfielder who plays for the Netherlands national team. He's the kind of player who can control the tempo of a game from the middle of the park. He can pass, he can dribble, he can break up play, and he can drive forward with the ball. In other words, he's exactly the type of midfielder that modern football demands. For Liverpool, Gravenberch has been influential this season. When he plays well, Liverpool tend to play well. When he's off his game, the whole team feels it. That's the mark of an important player. So what happened to him? During the international break, Gravenberch was playing for the Netherlands against Finland. The Dutch were cruising, winning 4-0, and everything seemed fine. But at half-time, something changed. The Netherlands manager, Ronald Koeman, made a substitution. He took Gravenberch off. Why? Koeman later explained that Gravenberch was experiencing some discomfort in his hamstring. Now, if you know anything about hamstring injuries, you know they can be tricky. They can be minor and heal quickly, or they can be serious and keep a player out for weeks or even months. Koeman said they didn't want to take any risks. That's manager speak for we're worried this could get worse if we keep playing him. The Netherlands had already played a full match against Malta just a few days earlier, where Gravenberch completed the entire 90 minutes. So the fact that he couldn't finish the second game suggests this hamstring issue is real. Here's the question that Liverpool fans are asking right now. Will Gravenberch be fit to face Manchester United? The honest answer is we don't know yet. Hamstring injuries are unpredictable. Some players can shake them off in a few days with the right treatment. Others need weeks of recovery. Liverpool's medical team will assess him when he returns from international duty, and then Slot will have to make a decision. But think about it from Liverpool's perspective. They're already struggling. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Their confidence is shot. And now they might be without one of their most important midfielders for the biggest game of their season so far. That's pressure. From a United point of view, if Gravenberch doesn't play, that's a huge advantage. It means Liverpool's midfield might lack that control and composure that he provides. It means there might be more space for United's attackers to exploit. It means the game could open up in ways that favour the visitors. Ibrahima Konate, the defensive headache. Now let's talk about Ibrahima Konate, because this injury might be even more significant than Gravenberch's. Konate is Liverpool's centre-back. He's a big, strong, fast defender who can handle the physical battles that come with playing in the Premier League. He's particularly good in the air, and he's not bad with the ball at his feet either. For Liverpool, he's been a key part of their defence, especially in big games. So what happened to Konate? This injury actually happened before the international break. During Liverpool's defeat at Chelsea, Konate had to come off the pitch. He was limping. He looked uncomfortable. And when the medical staff checked him out, they found he had injured his quad muscle. Now, quad injuries can be painful and limiting. Your quadriceps are the big muscles at the front of your thigh, and they're essential for running, jumping, kicking, basically everything a footballer needs to do. When you injure your quad, you can't play through it. You need rest and treatment. Konate tried to link up with the France national team during the international break. France had a match against Iceland, and initially, it looked like he might be involved. But as the days went by, it became clear that he wasn't going to be ready. France released a statement explaining that Konate had been following treatment and protocol since arriving with the squad, but he wouldn't be able to play against Iceland. That tells you the injury is serious enough to keep him out of international matches. And if he can't play for France, will he be ready to play for Liverpool against Manchester United? It seems unlikely. This is where things get interesting from a tactical perspective. Liverpool's defence has already been struggling. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 6 games, remember? Now imagine that defence without one of their best centre-backs. Imagine them trying to deal with United's attackers without Konate's pace and power. Who would replace him? That's the question Slot has to answer. Liverpool have other defenders, of course, but none of them quite offer what Konate does. They might have to shuffle things around. They might have to change their defensive approach. They might have to accept that they're weaker at the back than usual. For United's attackers, this is music to their ears. Playing against a makeshift or weakened defense is always easier than playing against a settled, confident backline. If Konate is out, United's forwards should be licking their lips at the prospect of running at whoever replaces him. Alisson Becker, the goalkeeper situation. This might be the biggest injury concern of all. We're talking about Alisson Becker, Liverpool's #1 goalkeeper. If you follow football, you know how important a top-class goalkeeper is. They can win you points with incredible saves. They can organize your defense. They can give everyone in front of them confidence. Alisson has been one of the best goalkeepers in world football for years now. He's won the Premier League, the Champions League, and pretty much every honour there is to win at club level. So when Alisson gets injured, Liverpool have a problem. This injury happened during Liverpool's Champions League match against Galatasaray in Istanbul. Liverpool lost that game 1-0, and they also lost their goalkeeper. Alisson injured his hamstring during the match, and hamstring injuries for goalkeepers can be particularly problematic. Think about it. Goalkeepers need their hamstrings for diving, for kicking the ball long distances, for quick movements across their goal line. If your hamstring isn't 100%, you can't do any of those things properly. And if you try to play through it, you risk making the injury much worse. Alisson didn't travel with Brazil during the international break. That should tell you everything you need to know about the severity of this injury. Brazil don't leave out their best goalkeeper unless they have no choice. The fact that he stayed behind to continue treatment means Liverpool and Brazil both know he needs time to recover. Slot, Liverpool's manager, spoke about this before the international break. He was pretty clear about the situation. He said he would be surprised if Alisson was ready for the first game after the international break. In other words, he was basically confirming that Alisson won't play against Manchester United. So who plays instead? The article mentions Georgi Mamardashvili, but here's where things get a bit confusing. Mamardashvili is a goalkeeper that Liverpool signed, but he was actually loaned back to Valencia for this season. So he's not available to play for Liverpool right now. That means Liverpool will have to rely on their backup goalkeeper, whoever that might be. Backup goalkeepers are always an unknown quantity. They don't play regularly, so they might be rusty. They might not have the same understanding with the defenders in front of them. They might not command the penalty area with the same authority. They might make mistakes that a more experienced number one wouldn't make. From United's perspective, this is potentially the biggest opportunity of all. Scoring against Alisson at Anfield is tough. He's one of those goalkeepers who seems to save everything. But scoring against a backup goalkeeper who's coming into a team that's already on a losing streak and already struggling defensively? That's a different story altogether. United's attackers need to test this goalkeeper early and often. They need to shoot from distance. They need to put crosses into the box. They need to put pressure on him and see how he responds. If he makes one mistake, if he spills one shot, if he misjudges one cross, United need to be ready to pounce. What this means for Liverpool's team selection. Let's take a step back and think about what all these injuries mean for Liverpool as a team. How will Arne Slot set up his team without these key players? First, let's talk about the midfield. If Gravenberch is out, Slot needs to find someone else who can control the game from that position. Liverpool have other midfielders, but can they do the same job? Can they provide the same balance between attack and defense? Can they handle the pressure of a game this big? The midfield is where games are won and lost. If Liverpool's midfield is weaker than usual, United's midfield can take control. They can dictate the tempo. They can win the ball back quickly and launch attacks. They can cut off the supply line to Liverpool's forwards. Now let's think about the defense. Without Konate, Liverpool might have to play a centre-back who isn't as quick or as strong. They might have to drop their defensive line deeper to compensate for that lack of pace. And if they drop deeper, they create more space between their defense and their midfield. That space is dangerous. That's where United's attackers can operate. And then there's the goalkeeper situation. Even if Liverpool's backup goalkeeper is decent, he's not Alisson. He doesn't have the same experience. He doesn't have the same presence. The defenders in front of him might not trust him as much. They might be more cautious. They might make different decisions because they're not sure if he'll bail them out if they make a mistake. All of these factors add up. When you're missing three important players in three different positions, your whole team balance is affected. You can't play the same way. You can't be as confident. You have to adjust, and adjustments always take time to work properly. The psychological impact of injuries. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. The psychological impact of injuries on a team. When you're already on a losing streak, the last thing you need is more bad news. But that's exactly what Liverpool are dealing with. They're trying to recover from 3 defeats, and now they're getting reports about players being injured during the international break. How does that affect team morale? Players start to worry. They start to think maybe our luck has run out. They start to doubt themselves. They start to wonder if things are going to get worse before they get better. That doubt can spread through a squad like a virus. And it's not just the players who aren't injured. The injured players themselves might be feeling frustrated, guilty even. They want to help their team. They want to be on the pitch fighting for results. But instead, they're sitting in the treatment room, watching their teammates struggle without them. This is where leadership becomes crucial. Liverpool need their senior players, their experienced pros, to step up and keep everyone focused. They need someone to say, look, we're going through a tough time, but we can get through this together. We've been in difficult situations before, and we've come out stronger. But here's the thing. Leadership is easier when things are going well. When you're winning games, when everyone's fit and firing, it's easy to be positive. But when injuries are piling up, when results aren't going your way, when the pressure is building, that's when real leadership is tested. From United's point of view, this psychological weakness is another advantage. If Liverpool's players come into this game already doubting themselves, already worried about their injury situation, already scarred from 3 straight defeats, United can exploit that. They can start fast, put Liverpool under pressure straight away, and see if they crumble. Historical context. Injuries in big games. Let me ask you something. Can you remember other big games where injuries played a major role in the outcome? There have been so many examples throughout football history. Teams that looked unstoppable suddenly struggling because their star player got injured at the wrong time. Managers having to completely change their tactics because they were missing key personnel. One famous example is the 2006 Champions League final. Barcelona were without their suspended goalkeeper Victor Valdés. They had to play their backup, and while they still won the game, there were definitely moments where you could see the difference. Or think about when Manchester United used to face Liverpool with key players missing. Sometimes United would struggle because they were without Rooney or Ronaldo. Other times, Liverpool would be the ones missing Gerrard or Torres, and you could see how it affected their game plan. The point is, injuries matter. They matter in every game, but they matter even more in big games. In matches between rivals, in games with so much history and emotion attached to them, having your best players available is absolutely critical. Liverpool are about to face Manchester United at Anfield with potentially 3 key players unavailable. That's not ideal preparation for any game, let alone a match of this magnitude. What does this mean for Manchester United? Alright, let's talk about the most important question for us. What does all of this mean for Manchester United? First and foremost, it means opportunity. When you're facing a rival who's struggling with form and injuries, you have to take advantage. There's no room for sympathy in football. Liverpool wouldn't feel sorry for United if the situation was reversed, so United shouldn't feel sorry for Liverpool now. United's manager needs to look at Liverpool's injury situation and think about how to exploit it. If Gravenberch is out, can United overload the midfield? If Konate is missing, can United target whoever replaces him with long balls and runs in behind? If Alisson isn't playing, can United test the backup goalkeeper with shots from distance? These are tactical questions that need answers. And the answers could be the difference between winning and losing this game. But United also need to be careful. Sometimes, playing against an injury-hit team can be a trap. You go into the game thinking it's going to be easy, and then you get complacent. You don't play with the same intensity. You don't respect your opponent enough. And before you know it, you're losing to a team you should have beaten. Liverpool might be missing players, but they're still Liverpool. They're still a team full of talent. They're still playing at Anfield, where the atmosphere can be intimidating. They're still desperate for a win after 3 straight defeats. That desperation can be dangerous. So United need to find the right balance. They need to be confident and aggressive, but also focused and disciplined. They need to press Liverpool's weaknesses without leaving themselves exposed at the back. They need to take risks, but calculated risks. Tactical considerations for United. Let's get into some specifics about how United might approach this game tactically. If Gravenberch doesn't play, Liverpool's midfield might lack control. That means United should press high up the pitch. They should force Liverpool to play out from the back under pressure. They should make it difficult for Liverpool's centre-backs to find easy passes into midfield. If United can win the ball back in dangerous areas, they can create chances quickly. Liverpool's defence is already shaky, remember. If United can catch them on the transition, when they're not set and organised, that's when they're most vulnerable. If Konate is missing, United should consider using pace. Liverpool might have to play a slower centre-back, or someone who's not as comfortable defending in space. United's forwards should look to run in behind, to stretch the defence, to make them turn and chase. Long balls could also be effective. If Liverpool's centre-backs aren't as strong in the air as Konate, United should test them with crosses and diagonal passes. Get the ball into the box as often as possible and see if they can deal with it. And then there's the goalkeeper situation. If Alisson isn't playing, United should absolutely test the backup from distance. Shoot early, shoot often. Make him make saves. Put pressure on him. See if he has the confidence to deal with a barrage of shots. But United also need to think about their own defence. Just because Liverpool are struggling doesn't mean they can't score goals. They still have quality attackers. They still have players who can hurt you if you give them space and time. United need to defend as a team. They need to track runners from midfield. They need to close down quickly when Liverpool have the ball. They need to be organised and compact, especially in their own penalty area. The key is balance. Attack Liverpool's weaknesses, but don't forget to protect your own goal. Be aggressive, but be smart about it. The importance of the early stages. Here's something that could be crucial in this game. The first 20 minutes. Think about it. Liverpool are coming off 3 straight defeats. Their confidence is low. They have injury problems. The last thing they need is to go a goal down early at home against their biggest rivals. If United can start fast, if they can get the crowd nervous, if they can score early, Liverpool might collapse. They might start to panic. Their players might start pointing fingers at each other. The Anfield crowd might turn on them. But if Liverpool score first, everything changes. Suddenly they've got their confidence back. Suddenly the crowd is roaring. Suddenly United are on the back foot, chasing the game at one of the most difficult grounds in England. So those opening 20 minutes could define the entire match. United need to be ready from the first whistle. They need to impose themselves on the game immediately. They need to show Liverpool that they're not going to get any sympathy, any time to settle, any easy moments. High intensity from the start. That's what United need. How Liverpool might respond. Let's not forget that Liverpool are a top team with a top manager. Arne Slot isn't going to just accept defeat because he has some injuries. He's going to come up with a plan. He's going to try to find solutions. So how might Liverpool respond to their injury crisis? One possibility is that they change their formation. If they don't have the right players for their usual system, they might switch to something different. Maybe a more defensive setup. Maybe a more direct approach. Maybe something that compensates for their weaknesses. Another possibility is that they rely more on their attacking players. If the defense is weak and the midfield is uncertain, maybe Liverpool will decide the best form of defense is attack. Maybe they'll try to outscore United rather than keeping them out. Liverpool might also try to use the Anfield atmosphere to their advantage. They'll encourage the crowd to get behind the team from the start. They'll try to create an intimidating environment that makes it difficult for United to play their normal game. And don't forget about individual quality. Even with injuries, Liverpool have players who can produce moments of magic. One brilliant pass, one great dribble, one spectacular shot. That's all it takes to change a game. So while United should feel confident about their chances, they shouldn't underestimate Liverpool's ability to adapt and overcome. The role of squad depth. This injury situation really highlights the importance of squad depth in modern football. Liverpool have signed some big names, but can the players coming in to replace the injured ones perform at the same level? That's the test of squad depth. Every top team needs not just a strong first 11, but a strong squad of 20 to 25 players who can all contribute. When injuries hit, and they always do at some point in a season, you need players who can step in without the team's level dropping too much. For United, this is also a consideration. If United have injuries or suspensions later in the season, will they have the depth to cope? These are the kind of lessons you learn by watching other teams deal with their own injury problems. Squad depth isn't just about having lots of players. It's about having the right kind of players. Players who understand the system. Players who are mentally strong enough to perform when called upon. Players who can maintain the team's style and intensity even when they haven't been playing regularly. Liverpool are about to find out how good their squad depth really is. The bigger picture for Liverpool's season. Let's zoom out for a moment and think about what this injury situation means for Liverpool's entire season. They've already lost 3 games in a row. If they lose to Manchester United, that's 4 straight defeats. That kind of run can derail a season. It can destroy confidence completely. It can create divisions in the dressing room. It can put massive pressure on the manager. Liverpool had big ambitions this season. They're supposed to be challenging for the Premier League title. They're supposed to be competing in the Champions League. They're supposed to be one of the best teams in Europe. But right now, they look vulnerable. They look like a team that's going through a crisis. And crises can spiral out of control if you're not careful. The United game is huge for Liverpool. Not just because it's United. Not just because it's at Anfield. But because they desperately need to stop the losing streak. They need to get their season back on track. They need to prove that the last 3 games were just a blip, not the start of something more serious. If they can beat United, even with all these injury problems, it could be the turning point. It could give them the confidence boost they need. It could show them that they can overcome adversity. But if they lose? If they go 4 games without a win? Then Liverpool might be in real trouble. And that's before we even start talking about the injury problems getting worse or new injuries happening. What United fans should watch for. As United fans, there are specific things we should be watching for in this game. First, watch how Liverpool's replacements perform. If Gravenberch doesn't play, who takes his place in midfield? How comfortable do they look? Are they getting overrun? Can they control the tempo? If Konate is out, watch Liverpool's defense closely. Are they getting stretched? Are they making mistakes? Are they struggling with United's movement and pace? And definitely watch the goalkeeper. If it's not Alisson, how does the backup handle the pressure? Does he look nervous? Does he make any errors? Does he inspire confidence in his teammates? Also watch Liverpool's body language. Are they looking confident and determined, or are they looking worried and uncertain? Body language can tell you a lot about a team's mental state. And watch how the game flows in general. Does United control the midfield? Do they create chances? Do they make Liverpool look uncomfortable? Or do Liverpool find a way to overcome their problems and dominate anyway? These observations will tell you everything about how the injuries are really affecting Liverpool. The media narrative. Here's something interesting to think about. How will the media cover this game? If United win, will the media give them full credit? Or will they say it was only because Liverpool had injuries? If Liverpool win despite their injury problems, Will the media praise them for their resilience and character? The narrative matters in football. It affects how fans perceive their team. It affects confidence going forward. It affects everything. As United fans, we need to be ready for whatever narrative emerges. If United win, don't let anyone diminish that achievement by saying Liverpool were weakened. A win is a win, and beating Liverpool at Anfield is always impressive no matter what. But if United don't win, we also need to keep perspective. One result doesn't define a season. There's a long way to go, and plenty of opportunities to bounce back. The media will have their say, but what matters most is how the teams respond and what they do in the weeks and months that follow. Injury prevention and modern football. This injury situation also raises some bigger questions about football in general. Why do so many players get injured these days? The schedule is relentless. Players are playing more games than ever before. International breaks mean they don't get rest. They're flying all over the world, playing in different climates, adjusting to different time zones. Their bodies are under constant stress. Even with all the modern sports science, all the recovery techniques, all the medical expertise, injuries still happen all the time. Liverpool are dealing with hamstring injuries to two key players. Hamstrings are particularly common in football because of all the sprinting, the sudden accelerations and decelerations, the changes of direction. Teams spend millions on medical staff and sports scientists trying to prevent injuries. They monitor every aspect of a player's physical condition. They track their workload, their sleep, their nutrition, everything. But you can't prevent all injuries. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Sometimes a player lands awkwardly. Sometimes they get caught by a tackle. Sometimes their body just breaks down despite all the precautions. It's a reminder that footballers are human. They're not machines. They can't play at maximum intensity every few days without consequences. What happens after this game? Let's think ahead. What happens after the United game, regardless of the result? For Liverpool, they need to hope their injured players recover quickly. Gravenberch's hamstring issue needs to be minor. Konate needs to get his quad sorted out. Alisson needs more time, but hopefully he'll be back soon. The longer these players are out, the more difficult Liverpool's situation becomes. They have other big games coming up. They can't afford to be without key players for weeks on end. For United, this game is just one step in their season. Win or lose, they need to maintain focus and keep improving. They need to build momentum and consistency. But let's be honest. A win at Anfield would be massive. It would be a statement. It would show that United are serious contenders. It would give everyone at the club a huge boost. That's what makes this game so important for both teams. It's not just 3 points. It's about confidence, momentum, belief, and setting the tone for the rest of the season. The fan perspective. Let's not forget about the fans. How are Liverpool fans feeling right now? How are United fans feeling? Liverpool fans are probably worried. 3 straight losses is bad enough. Injuries to key players makes it worse. The thought of losing to United at Anfield is almost too much to bear. They'll be hoping for a miracle. They'll be hoping that somehow their team finds a way to win despite everything. They'll be hoping that the Anfield atmosphere can inspire the players to overcome their problems. United fans, on the other hand, are probably feeling optimistic. This is a great opportunity. Liverpool are vulnerable. United have a real chance to go to Anfield and get a result. But United fans also know better than to get too confident. We've all seen games where United should have won but didn't. We've all experienced disappointment when victory seemed certain. So there's optimism, but also caution. Hope, but also nerves. That's what makes football so exciting and so agonizing at the same time. Final thoughts before the match. As we approach this massive game, there's so much to consider. Liverpool are in crisis. 3 defeats, multiple injuries, and a visit from their biggest rivals. It's the perfect storm of problems. United have an opportunity. But opportunities mean nothing if you don't take advantage of them. The injuries to Gravenberch, Konate, and Alisson could be decisive. They weaken Liverpool in key areas. They force changes and adjustments. They create uncertainty and doubt. But Liverpool are still a quality team with a quality manager. They're still at home. They're still dangerous. United need to be smart, aggressive, and focused. They need to exploit Liverpool's weaknesses without exposing their own. They need to start fast and maintain intensity for 90 minutes. This is the kind of game that can define a season. For Liverpool, it's a chance to stop the bleeding and prove they can overcome adversity. For United, it's a chance to make a statement and show they're genuine contenders. Thank you and stay connected. Thank you so much for reading this in-depth analysis of Liverpool's injury situation ahead of the Manchester United clash. I hope this has given you a complete understanding of what's happening, why it matters, and what to look for in the big game. Remember, this is exactly the kind of detailed, informative content we provide on our YouTube channel, United Daily Updates. If you enjoyed this blog post, you'll love what we do on YouTube. We break down matches, analyze tactics, discuss transfer news, and keep you updated on everything Manchester United. So if you haven't already, head over to YouTube and search for United Daily Updates. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Join our community of passionate United fans who love talking about the beautiful game. We're all in this together. Whether United win or lose against Liverpool, we'll be here to discuss it, analyze it, and look ahead to the next challenge. That's what being a fan is all about. Supporting your team through the highs and the lows, the victories and the defeats. This United versus Liverpool match is going to be fascinating. Liverpool's injury problems make it even more intriguing. There's drama, there's tension, there's opportunity. Everything that makes football the greatest sport in the world. Let's hope United can take advantage of this situation. Let's hope they can go to Anfield and get a result that gets everyone talking. Let's hope this is the game where United show everyone what they're capable of this season. Thank you for being part of the United Daily Updates community. Thank you for reading, for engaging, and for caring about this great club as much as I do. Until next time, keep the red flag flying high. Come on, United!